That's it here. Am I in the way?
No. Somebody back here wants a score sheet.
Chris, you're the
We've got
captain.
one.
And
Doing a
service
score sheet.
Captain Danny. Ready to go already, right? Okay, you ready to go? Question 1, toss-up. After this Greek god killed Erythrio for raping the god's daughter, Elliptice, he was tried for murder on an Athenian hill to which lent his name. This god gave his daughter, Hippolyta, a magical girdle that marked her as a queen of the Amazons, and fathered Phobos and Deimos by... Correct. Bonus. Express your answer as a fraction and in square units. For x on the interval from 1 to 2, find the area under the curve with equation y equals x squared plus 4. Incorrect. Captain? 19/3. Located in the plains of St. Augustine, this installation is named for Carl G. Jansky, but is more familiarly named for its physical characteristics. Put into place in 1975, this plant consists of 27 independent radio telescopes on a rail system, each weighing 209 metric tons. Name this installation that is designed to detect emissions of radio waves from distant galaxy stars and supernovas.
The big array?
Incorrect. What do you think, Judge? Incorrect. It's the Very Large Array, or VLA. Toss-up. The revival of this nation gained impetus in 1835 when Vasil Aprilov established a school in Gabrovo. A premature uprising against Ottoman rule led Russian intervention in the epic battle against the Turks at Shipa Pass. What Balkan nation won its independence in
Ukraine.
Incorrect. What Balkan nation won its independence in 1878 and has its capital in Sofia?
Bosnia?
Incorrect. Bulgaria. Toss-up. This work begins by characterizing society as something to strive for, but government as a necessary evil.
Common sense?
Correct. Bonus. After studying at the Imperial Theater School, this man joined the ballet company where he replaced Broliska Nakiska and as principal choreographer. He helped assemble the American Ballet Caravan, but it's better known for his other collaborations with Lincoln Kirkstein. Identify this co-founder of the School of American Ballet and the New York City Ballet.
Mario.
Incorrect. Captain?
Balanchine.
Correct. Balanchine. Toss-up. Consider the function y equals x squared minus 4x plus 7, where the domain of the function is the set of all real numbers. What is the minimum value of y? Incorrect. Captain? Hesitation.
It's a toss-up.
Oh, my bad. You got time. It's y equals 3. Toss-up. From this ship, only 7 known survivors were left after 98-year-old John Anderson died in New Mexico in November of 2015. Anderson's twin brother Jake was one of the 1,100...
Titanic?
Incorrect. Anderson's twin brother Jake was one of the 1,177 crewmen who died on the ship. Identify this battleship, now a memorial, that was sunk during the surprise attack on Pearl Harbor, December 7, 1941.
USS Arizona.
Correct. Bonus. This man's doctoral thesis focused on the plane polarization of light and the absorption of light by crystals. His most significant discovery was the decay of uranium left after a very visible image on photographic plates. Name this man who shared the 1903 Nobel Prize in Physics with the Curies and who names the SI unit of radioactivity. Correct. Toss-up. This story's title character who refuses to pay local taxes is a recluse who once taught China painting to local girls. She enjoys a brief romance with northern laborer Homer Barron, whom she poisons. Correct. Bonus. King Cotton, by this composer, celebrated an 1895 exposition centered on the southern cash crop. From 1880 to 1898, he led a military group known as the President's Own, for whom he composed his Semper Fidelis. What leader of the U.S. Marine Band composed the Stars and Stripes Forever?
Sousa?
Correct. Toss-up. An approximation for this quantity in the buoyancy-driven flow disregards changes in temperature. That approximation is named for Buseiki and describes this type of heat transfer. Name this type of heat transfer in fluids that is contrasted.
Convection.
Correct. Bonus. His Nobel Prize was awarded for, quote, his analysis of financial markets and their relations to expenditure decisions, employment, production, and prices. As an advisor to the 1972 George McGovern campaign, he pointed out that a high minimum wage can affect job prospects of inner-city youth. What U.S. economist who received the Nobel Prize in 1991 argued for the monetary policy is the only effective in capital investment?
Friedman.
Incorrect.
Maslow.
Tobin, James Tobin. Toss-up. This confidence interval for estimating an unknown population mean has endpoints 5 and 9. What is the margin of error of this confidence interval? No answers. 2. This Renaissance man's lesser-known works include the satirical poem The Golden Ass and play The Mandrake. His masterpiece gives it.
Niccolo Machiavelli.
Correct. Bonus. After being defeated by Tamerlane in 1402, this empire gradually began rebuilding its power. Barely half a century later, its forces put an end to Christian empire it had fought against for more than 2 centuries. What empire captured Constantinople in 1453?
Ottoman Empire.
Correct. Toss-up. An artist achieves this visual principle by including diverse colors, shapes, and sizes in his or her work. Name this principle that relies on diversity and contrast.
Variety.
Is correct. Bonus. Express your answer as a fraction. Suppose that a fair coin is tossed 4 times. Calculate the probability that exactly 2 of the tosses show a head.
1/4.
Incorrect. Captain?
1/2.
3/8. Toss-up. One theory named for this force posits that all space is made up of an extremely fine fabric woven of finite loops.
String theory.
Incorrect. One theory named for this force posits that all space is made up of extremely fine fabric woven of finite loops, and this force does not, as of yet, have a carrier in the standard mode. The Einstein cross is an optical occurrence caused by this force, which causes light to bend around massive objects in its namesake lens. Name the weakest of the fundamental forces which causes objects with mass to attract to each other. Gravity is correct. This novel's protagonist finds presents hidden in a tree's knothole, witnesses a potential lynch mob, and sits in the colored balcony during a local trial. Tom Robinson is falsely accused of rape. Boo Radley shows kindness to the Finch children, and Atticus combats Macomb, Alabama's racism. Name this novel, Scout's Coming of Age story by Harper Lee.
To Kill a Mockingbird.
Correct. Early examples of these musical works include those by Francesco Ladini, Giovanni Artusi strongly criticized the style of some composed by Claudio Monteverdi, who wrote 9 books of them. What popular secular a cappella vocal works of Italy often featured themes of courtly love? Answer. Madrigals. Over the field of complex numbers, calculate the product of the square root of -25 and the square root of -4.
-10.
Correct. Bonus. Name a number, please. This king was described by Will and Ariel Durant as a short, lame, apathetic, and senile. He ascended the throne while an infant, but 2 marriages failed to produce any children. Identify the last Spanish Habsburg ruler whose death brought on the War of Spanish Succession.
Ferdinand.
Incorrect, Captain.
Philip II.
Philip II is incorrect. It's Charles II. Toss up. These compounds are labeled E or Z to denote isomers with primary substituents on the opposite and same sides. They can be formed through a reaction of an alkyne with Lindlar's catalyst or by the heating of an alcohol in the presence of a strong acid. What compounds have carbon-carbon double bonds? Correct. This man's lesser-known plays include Suddenly Last Summer, The Night of Iguana, and Summer and Smoke. His 3 masterpieces feature the dysfunctional Pilit, Wingfield, Kowalski, and Dubois families. Who wrote Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, The Glass Menagerie, and A Streetcar Named Desire? Correct. Pasa. After 2 voyages to the Levant, this explorer sailed westward in La Dauphine in search for a sea route to Asia. He reached Cape Fear on the Carolina coast in March 1524, then turned northward. What Italian sailing for France is credited with discovering? Say again? Incorrect. What Italian sailing for France is credited with discovering Block Island and what is now New York Harbor? Verrazzano. Toss up. English title required. This opera's usage of groups of 3 in both its cast and music is symbolic of its association with the Freemasons. Papageno fails a trial of silence, and an Egyptian priest, Sarastro, is targeted for death by the Queen of the Night. In what opera does Tamino? Incorrect. In what opera does Tamino protect Pamina from a chamber of fire using a musical instrument? Correct. Bonus. He and F.W. Aston developed mass spectrometry and used it to discover stable isotopes of neon. He also showed the cathode rays were composed of small negatively charged particles. Who is known for the plum pudding model of the atom and for discovering the electron?
Bohr.
Incorrect, Captain.
Thomson.
Correct. Toss up. Point M with coordinates 2, -7 is the midpoint of segment AB with an endpoint at the point where coordinates 4, 3. Find the coordinates of the other endpoint of segment AB.
-17.
Correct. Bonus. This man uses language and philosophical training to reconcile biblical contradictions in his work Yes and No. His letters and autobiography, History of My Troubles, tells of his rejected military career, illegitimate son, Strobel, and compulsory monastic life. Which medieval scholastic theologian is remembered for his love of Heloise?
Designate Alex. Babylon.
Correct. Toss up. Consider the circle with the equation x squared plus quantity y minus 4 close quantity squared equals 8. What are the coordinates of the center of the circle?
0,4.
Correct. Bonus. Famous structures in this geometrical shape are located at the Teotihuacan and its Chechen, both in Mexico. IMP created a glass version that now sits in the front of the Louvre. What kind of structure's greatest examples stand at Giza in Egypt?
Pyramid.
Correct. Bonus? Never tossed up?
That's half.
My bad. 11-11, is that what your coaches? Y'all doing good.
That's not that's teaspoons. I know. I knew it when it started. They're gonna get it. I thought they're gonna get this. We just went out for it. We went out for it. It was Wednesday. We went out on Wednesday. I told the we talked about
You gonna make it?
I don't know. I am just so afraid I'm not going to be able to make it till summer without having to have surgery. And I don't tend to do very well with surgery. I always end up back in the hospital because I tend to get infections in my wound.
I don't think it's necessary. You guys know.
What was it? That you didn't think it's necessary.
Oh, sweet.
Okay.
Let's try our buzzer check.
They just said that we, the coaches are sure, and since they have it up there as well,
But who's
I guess we can use this one.
Great. All right.
Good point, Norma.
Good luck on the second half. Answer in the original language, please. This mid-1980s program was intended to raise the union of the same economic levels as capitalist economies and loosen state controls on production and the economy, but was opposed by bureaucrats who feared the loss of power and prestige. Incorrect. What program, whose name means restructuring, was begun by Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev? It was perestroika. In degrees, calculate the measure of one interior angle of a regular nonagon.
40 degrees.
Say that again.
40 degrees.
Incorrect. 140 degrees. Toss up. One early work by this artist shows a young architect holding a square edge and a watch. He showed Castor and Pollux abducting two women in the rape of the daughters of Lysippus, while men on horseback prepared to spear their prey and hippopotamus hunt. What painter gave his name to describe a pleasingly plump woman? Incorrect. Paul Peter Rubens. This character dives into a river to save little Eva, whose father, Augustine St. Clair, purchases is correct. Bonus. This group of elements includes the one with the lowest electronegativity, which varies depending on the scale used. They react violently with water and are highly reactive in general because of their single s orbital electron. What group of the periodic table includes rubidium, lithium, and sodium?
Halogen.
Incorrect, Captain.
Alkaline earth.
Correct, alkali metals. Toss up. English name, please. In Roman times, this country was part of Illyria and fell under Ottoman rule, which left it with Muslim population. It proclaimed its independence in 1912, became a communist state in 1944, and was ruled by Enver Hoxha for 4 decades. What Balkan nation has coasts on the Adriatic and Ionian Seas?
Portugal?
Incorrect.
Estonia.
Albania. Toss up. George Oehlenschläger accelerated this process through the use of aniline. Its modern form was first patented by Thomas Hancock, though it's better known for the U.S. patent of Charles Goodyear. Vulcanization, correct. One member of this art movement painted the hearts of the Andes during his time in South America. Another member depicted a painter and a poet on a rocky ledge in kindred spirits. What school, whose artists include Frederick Church and Asher Duran, took its name from a New York waterway? Correct. Toss-up. This author described his childhood foster home in Baba Black Sheep and included the... Correct. Bonus. Two sides of this triangle have lengths of 3 units and 6 units, and the length of the third side of the triangle is also an integer. In units, find the largest possible length of the third side of the triangle.
9.
Incorrect. Captain?
45.
8. Toss up. At the start of the formation of this structure in bacteria, a septum forms between the structure and the rest of the cell. Unlike in plants and fungi, in bacteria...
Cell wall.
Incorrect. Unlike in plants and fungi, in bacteria, it is not part of the sexual reproductive cycle, but is used for survival. What hardy structures produced by bacteria can withstand extreme conditions? Spores. Toss up. One of these texts describes weeping at the memory of Zion by the waters of Babylon. A notation that man's days are as grass appears in the 103rd, which begins by stating, "Bless the Lord, O my soul." What 150 biblical songs?
Psalms.
Correct. Bonus. Over 2 decades, this author earned 4 Pulitzer Prizes for poetry, a feat that has never been matched. Those awards came from collected poems, New Hampshire, A Further Range, and A Witness Tree. Who was this poet of Birches? Nothing Gold Can Stay, and The Death of the Hired Man.
Frost.
Correct. Toss up. A point A has coordinates 3, 5. If point A is reflected in the line with equation y equals x, find the coordinates of the image.
5, 3.
Correct. This organization's charter states that its purpose include ending war. promoting human rights and establishing justice. Its name was first used to refer to countries opposed to the Axis during World War II. Name this international group founded in 1945 and headquartered in New York City.
United Nations.
Correct.
Time out.
Time out. Stop.
He's been bad news because of explosives and now you're I'm not worried.
Yeah.
But anyway. Please.
Ready, Coach? There we go, folks. Because DNA from this organelle is highly conserved, it is often used in phylogenetic studies. It has two membranes, the innermost of which is folded to create cristae. Mitochondria is correct. Bonus. Multiple answers are required. Consider the polynomial function y equals 2x raised to the 4th power minus 5x cubed plus 5x squared minus 6x plus 8. According to the rational zeros theorem, what are the possible positive rational zeros of the function y?
Two basic negative, 2 basic.
Incorrect. Captain?
3/5 and negative 3/5.
It's 1/2, 1, 2, 4, and 8 in any order. Toss up. One of this man's novels chronicles the 60-year relationship of Florentino Ariza. Correct. Bonus. One opera from this composer included an area in which a body bag containing the dead title character is dragged around the stage. He created a memory space involving the recited names of 9/11 victims, while his best-known opera begins with a meeting between Jolie and another world leader, who composed Death of the Fling Opera and the Transmigration of Souls and Nixon in China.
Glass.
Incorrect, Captain.
Atoms.
Correct. Toss-up. This chamber was usually decorated with murals of sacred figures or daily life and was used for ritual ceremonies. Its round structure contrasted with the usual squares or rectangles seen in the Anazi architecture. What subterranean chamber also had a small hole in the floor called a CPU and Hopi that signified the origin of the tribe? Incorrect.
Cahokia?
Say that again?
Cahokia?
No, it's Kiba. K-I-B-A. Toss up. Angle X was measured as measure of 2 radians. In the measure of angle X, it's converted to degrees. Find the exact measure of angle X in degrees.
180 degrees?
Incorrect. The answer is 360 divided by pi. Of this author's 7 surviving plays, The Woman of Trachis and Philoctetes are lesser known. The author set Ajax after the end of the Iliad. Incorrect. The author set Ajax at the end of the Iliad and chronicled a brother and sister's revenge against their mother in Electra. Identify this tragedian known for his Theban plays, especially Oedipus Rex. Sophocles is correct. Bonus. Participants in this novelty dance, like in the conga, hold onto the person in front of them as they form a line or circle. They tap the floor with alternate feet before jumping forward, backward, and 3 times forward. Identify this dance with an animal in its name.
Foxtrot.
Incorrect, Captain.
Candela.
Bunny hop. Toss-up. This psychological disorder was first identified by Havelock Ellis in 1898. Someone suffering from it depends too much on others for regulating self-esteem. One sees oneself as exceptional and develops most superficial relationships.
Depression.
Incorrect. Identify this mental disorder named for the mythological character.
Narcissism.
Correct. Bonus. This science's namesake laws describe how genes are passed from one generation to generation. Punnett squares are used to visually describe genetic inheritance. Who revolutionized genetics with his work with pea plants? Correct. Toss up. Apis mellifera, a species of this kind of insect, uses the haploid plod method of sex determination, like many other hyenophora. Mites and a fungus are possible reasons why colonies of this insect have died off.
B.
Judge. Let me finish my going then. What insect has a distinctive dance, creates a sweet, vicious liquid to feed its young? Honeybee is correct. Bonus. Consider the graph of the function f of x equals 2 raised to the x power plus 3. Find the equation of the asymptote of the graph of the function f.
2.
Incorrect.
3x over 2.
It's y equals 3. Toss-up. In this 2015 case, conservative Justice Clarence Thomas joined 4 liberal members of the Supreme Court. The court ruled that a government is not barred by the French speech clause from determining the content of what it says. Identify the 2015 case in which the Supreme Court ruled that Texas had the right to refuse to issue a license plate with a Confederate flag on it.
Johnson versus the United States.
Is incorrect. It was Walker v. Sons of the Confederate Veterans. Toss-up. In this poem, the title character detains a wedding guest to tell of his unfortunate shooting of an albatross.
Romney H. American.
Correct. Bonus. The director uses a theatrical element to help actors create meaningful stage pictures. The stage manager records it during rehearsals, and actors must memorize it along with their lines. Give the word for actors' movement patterns on stage.
Stage direction.
Incorrect. Captain.
Blocking.
Blocking. Correct. Toss-up. Collective name, please. This first of these 3 acts was drafted by Thomas Jefferson and divided a vast territory into self-governing districts. The second set up township development.
Northwest Ordinance.
Correct. Bonus. Consider the function f of x equals x squared minus 4x plus 6. What are the coordinates of the vertex of the graph of f?
Negative 2, 3.
Incorrect. Captain.
2, 3.
2, 2. Toss up. In this novel, Ralph and Jack divided the lilies. Correct. Bonus. In trees, this tissue is the innermost layer of the bark. Its sieve tube elements allow for the transmission of nutrients. Which living part tissue transfers sugars to the roots and the rest of the plant?
Phloem.
Incorrect, Captain.
Xylem.
What did you say?
I think he said.
You're correct. I thought you said xylem. You are correct, sir. Toss up. This architect's design for Astorga's Episcopal Palace was eventually completed by other architects. Its Casa Mala, nicknamed the quarry for the way its steep stone roof slopes inward, has been incorrect. The quarry for the way it was gaudy.